This is a podcast by the News Minute, and you are listening to South Central.
This is South Central, a TNM podcast that puts South in the center. I'm Dhanya Rajendran, your host, and my co-host, Pooja Prasanna, the reporting head of the News Minute. Leena Reghunath, reporter and journalist who was with the Caravan and the Supreme Court Observer. Joining us from the Bangalore studio is Nikhil Narendran. Nikhil is a partner in Trilegal, a lawyer who's an expert in matters of technology, media and telecom communication. Welcome, Nikhil. It's also evident why Nikhil is here and what we're about to discuss. Joining us from the Chennai studio is R.K. Radhakrishnan, Senior Associate Editor, Frontline, and he's an award-winning journalist. We're recording on the 20th of November at 3 p.m. Before we go into the show, let me explain the show that Pooja does. The 50th episode is going to air this Saturday. So do catch that episode. It's become quite popular. Pooja explaining the difficult things of life. And of course, the second announcement is that we are having a live coverage of the election results, Newslaundry and the News Minute. We've been covering extensively the Jharkhand and the Maharashtra elections. It culminates with the live coverage, and thanks to all the readers and viewers who contributed to our election fund. This week, we'll be discussing the Nayanthara Dhanush war and what the IP laws in India are all about. Second, we will look at BJP leader Sandeep Varier joining the Congress in Kerala, where the politics is becoming ideology agnostic and it's all about opportunism. Finally, we'll discuss about the arrest of Kasturi Shankar, an actor, by the Chennai police for hate speech that she made. And remember, once a month, we will be inviting one of our subscribers onto the show. So if you are a TNM News Laundry subscriber, write to southcentral@thenewsminute.com. Tell us why you should be in the studio with us discussing politics, law, or whatever your topic is. Remember, southcentral@thenewsminute.com.
Yeah, in case you're wondering why I'm holding the mic and the rest of them are not, this is how I get treated. I am south of India. I don't get enough funds. The rest of them are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and other states.
No, but before we go to that, actually we built the studio with fund given by our readers. So thank you for that. We in fact did not even have a studio around 2 months ago. The entire thing was built because you all pitched in. But if you want a mic for Pooja, a permanent mic, you can again pitch to the studio fund.
Yes, thank you very much. Or you could just become a News Laundry and News Minute subscriber, and with that money, they'll buy me a mic. That too can be done. But let's look at some headlines. Karnataka Excise Minister may be axed amid scam claims. Now, Karnataka has become again scams galore. This is even as Siddaramaiah is facing the Muda allegation. He held a meeting with the Bar Association president a few days ago, and he's assured them that Timmapur, who's the excise minister, will be asked to step down.
And that's a second minister. A few months ago, Nagendra, another minister, had to step down because of the Valmiki scam. So the irony is that the Karnataka government comes into power because they were against the corruption of the BJP, and now they already have one minister gone and another minister on the way out, and the chief minister himself facing corruption charges.
But this will also add pressure on Siddaramaiah. If you're asking cabinet colleagues to step down, then when are you going to step down? That will be the question asked. Moving on to Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin asked Finance Commission for greater union tax share for states. And they've asked for, currently it's at 41%. They want it to be increased to 50%. I think this is something that all southern states have been asking for a while, right?
Yeah, and it's a very important one because of the fact that financial federalism is one of the key aspects of a constitution itself. And it's time that we think about redrawing the lines within which the allocation happens, resource allocation happens. Even for that matter, some of the policies around health and education is determined across South and North. Because the realities in these states are different and states should be given more autonomy when it comes to these matters.
Yeah.
RK, the presentation in fact got a lot of praise from the Finance Commission itself. Your thoughts?
See, basically, this is what Tamil Nadu does all the time. They put together a wonderful team. They did the same for the 15th Finance Commission, which of course came a cropper for Tamil Nadu. But despite that, every single secretary to government, every single department takes it seriously to make projections to the Finance Commission. Niti Aayog also was here, and they take great care and great pains to take these entire group they break the group into different manageable sizes, because each person has a different interest. Take them to various ground zero, so to speak, and to make them aware of what the needs of Tamil Nadu are. Apart from that, I don't know if you noticed, initially the meeting with the chief minister was arranged at the secretariat, and apparently there was a realization that if the entire team is going to travel to secretariat and come back to the hotel where they were staying, it is going to take time, and there will be unnecessary wastage of time. So it was communicated to the chief minister, and the chief minister agreed very readily to go to the hotel where they were staying and then made his presentation, and then went away from there, so that the other subsequent teams could follow. You won't believe, even the BJP made a considerable pitch for the state of Tamil Nadu. In fact, they had some solid suggestions to make as well on what was required for the state of Tamil Nadu and all of that. So every single political party which was invited went there. Every single person who was invited, I think there was near 100% attendance of anybody who was invited showing up there, and with a prepared script. It's not like just went there and kind of wing it by, but they made, every single person made the attempt, and I think it's a kind of model for everyone outside, because nobody really takes this commission seriously at all. Of course, the finance secretary and the cabinet secretary the chief secretary will always be there in every single meeting. But beyond that, secretaries to government or even lower level officers and all of that are usually excluded. And the people who are actually spend time with these, the entire team is usually the PROs who are assigned to them to take them to various temples and places of interest. But beyond that, nothing really happens in most of the states. What we see in Tamil Nadu is that also happens, but then at the same time, there are lots of other things which happens, and everything is a working kind of thing. A breakfast is a working breakfast. There is a kind of interaction or whatever networking session in the evening. Again, it's a working session kind of thing. So they try to maximize the time that they spend. They're trying to impress upon the 16th Finance Commission that the 15th Finance Commission actually did very bad things to states like Tamil Nadu, which has controlled their population.
No, but my point here is how much power does the Finance Commission in itself has? Because the formula for the terms of reference is also set by the union government. So it also has to be a political move. That's one point. And the second point that most people are not talking about is the cess and surcharges that has been increasing under Modi. This does not come under the divisive pool. Now, this 50% that all states are asking for, like Tamil Nadu is, comes from that divisive pool. Right? But this is cess and surcharges above that. That goes only to the union government, and they do what they want with it.
I think the important takeaway from here is that the recommendation by the Finance Commission was itself asking for at least 40% to be given to Tamil Nadu, whereas they've still receiving only 33%, right, of their share in this, and they are now asking for a 50%, and that's to majorly spend on the developmental sector, where we know all the southern states perform well, and that needs a big kind of money, health, education, and all of that. And I think all of the southern states has been asking for these, because they have a higher standard of performance on these development sectors doesn't mean that they should be deprived of funds that should ideally come to them to help them retain the same standards or grow further.
So though RK did talk a lot about how the preparations happen, this week's Power Trip, our newsletter, we actually have an entire segment on how Tamil Nadu prepared for the Finance Commission, because the Finance Commission has called a presentation a masterclass.
Yeah.
You move on to the next
Power
one?
Trip, by the way, is a weekly newsletter, and you can get access to it only if you're a Newslaundry News Minute member. We put it together after multiple conversations with multiple people. So if you want access to that, become a member, read it every week. It drops in your inbox on Tuesday.
Pooja is like that tape recorder, right? Which is just looking for that one thing and just play. So every time I say Power Trip, Pooja will immediately say this. Yeah, next headline.
We'll move to Kerala. And by the way, Kerala representation is quite a bit on this panel, but I'm not going to whine about that. Global Travel Guide adds Kerala to destinations to avoid list due to environmental risks.
So I think, look, this is one of the, typical hypocrisies that we see from the West. I'll tell you my experience. I was in Mexico in September, and we were given so many travel advisories saying don't step out, don't go outside, don't mingle with locals, don't eat local food. All sorts of advisories were given, including by US and UK administration. We were careful for the first 3 days. Then you realize that, look, these are people like us. We started mingling. There was no problem. We had a lot of fun in Mexico. The next week from Mexico, I go to San Francisco. There, I was scared to walk at night. After 7 o'clock, you cannot walk in the streets of San Francisco. You will feel unsafe in Union Square, which is the center of San Francisco. But there is no travel advisory saying be careful when you travel to San Francisco. But there is a travel advisory which says don't travel to Mexico. This is a typical kind of Western hypocrisy, and we are at the receiving end of that. And seriously, how many tourists have actually had an accident, even a serious accident, by way of an environmental crisis? Right?
Also, I don't see this for Florida, right? Which is
Exactly.
hit by hurricanes all the time.
In fact,
yeah.
My sister lives in Tampa, right? Every time a cyclone comes, they'll have to just pack up their bags and move. And we don't see any such advisories for folks who go to Orlando to Disneyland.
So, Leena is part of the organizing committee of the Wayanad Lit Fest. The second edition is happening next month. Leena, is there an impact of all this tourism in Wayanad? Because you have been speaking to hotel owners, etc., right?
Right. The economy has badly suffered because, the image once a major natural disaster like this happens is that, everything, people don't understand that it's limited to a certain part of the district, and the district as a whole is not affected. But then the tourism drops, like that is the main revenue of the people. There has been enormous amount of rainfall. The whole climate has changed, and which has affected the spices growth of Wayanad. So those two things that the people of Wayanad majorly depend on, which is farming and which is tourism, has been majorly affected this season. So, but that doesn't in any way affect the ability of Wayanad to be one of the tourism hotspot in Kerala, right? It's a very beautifully naturally endowed district, and then it's sad to see that that it has to go through this image of having been completely devastated by this natural disaster. So the effect on the economy is huge, and that is what Wayanad Literature Festival is trying to address this time, to gather enough work and funds so that we have a conversation about ecology along with literature. At the festival.
So we stand for safe tourism, safe construction, etc. We're just saying no to Western hypocrisy.
Correct.
Right. Does Rahul Gandhi's zipline video help at all?
We don't want more people ziplining. Yeah. But that zipline is quite nice. I've been there. Yeah.
Moving on to Telangana. After Telangana's notice to Diljit
Dosanjh.
Dosanjh.
That was horrible. That was horrible of Pooja, because before we started the show, we decided that Dhanya will not pronounce that name, because if I pronounce the name, half of the Punjabi subscribers of Newslaundry will say Tata bye-bye.
Okay.
But
Abhinandan
somehow
will
I
be
did.
upset.
Yeah, you actually did a good job. But this is our revenge for all the South Indian names that have been massacred by North Indians. Take it. But after Telangana's notice to Diljit Dosanjh, singer challenges states to ban liquor.
Yeah. No, the thing about Punjabi singers is that most of the songs are majorly about liquor, gender violence, and
Addiction.
gun violence, and all of those, addiction and all that. And Diljit is someone who's most progressive, who has stepped away. You wouldn't see the usual things happening in his videos that are part of Punjabi rap popular music, and Diljit is very careful about it. He's one of the most I think internationally acclaimed singer from Punjab too, has a huge fan following. If other South Indians haven't ever listened to Punjabi music like Dhanya, I would definitely recommend that try Diljit's music.
So now I've been branded as not
But
listening
I'm
to
low-key
Punjabi
impressed
songs.
that she knows so much about him.
RK, you don't have an opinion about Patiala pegs?
Yeah, but I've seen something different when I during my tenure in Sri Lanka. It's massive. If you have a glass this big, I've seen friends of mine who stock up alcohol till here. That is twice a Patiala peg. So island nation, so tourism is prominent. So people drink a lot, I guess. But yeah, coming to this, it's silly to ask the government if it is going to ban alcohol. These are policy decisions, and I think you can make those demands if you're not an affected party. But talking about, again, it's written in the law that you cannot advertise. Of course, we have an advocate here. You cannot advertise alcohol or cigarettes and all of that. But then it happens very routinely. This surreptitious advertising across all platforms, including during cricket matches. When X brand has a mineral water or soda. And they advertise. I don't know how or why BCCI should take it. I mean, they have loads and loads of money. They don't have money space to keep their money any longer, but they still will take the surrogate advertising. And organizations like that should take the lead. Unfortunately, they themselves are not. So a Punjabi asking Telangana government anything, I think is wrong.
RK, are you then saying that the Telangana government's notice is right, that Diljit shouldn't, or anybody shouldn't be singing about this? But I'm saying, look at vis-a-vis the hypocrisy of the states itself, right? Though all of them speak about reducing alcohol consumption, it doesn't happen. They actually don't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true. But it is right. What the Telangana government has done is right. You cannot be promoting alcohol near. In case there are verses which comes to promoting alcohol, I think it should be cut out. I mean, I drink alcohol. I mean, let's be very clear on this. And I enjoy my single malt, but I am not going to promote that in my writings or in an open forum like this. No, please make your own decisions.
It's a very moral and ethical question, right? Let me tell you very frankly, as someone who grew up in the 90s, I thought that it was cool to drink because I saw Mohanlal drinking on stage and, going completely berserk in Number 20 Madras Mail, right? I'm sure you would have seen that movie. And I saw a Madhavan smoking in Alai Paite. I thought it was like the most romantic thing to do, standing next to Bakel for thinking about your girlfriend and taking a smoke. So
Are you blaming all your bad habits on Mohanlal? and
Yes,
Madhavan
I'm
now?
just trying to, shrug off my responsibilities to other people.
So what is the
Mohanlal
moral of
has
the
other
story?
bad habits also.
What is the moral of your story?
Moral of the story is, if you can have artists like Diljit, you will have more people on whom you can shrug off your responsibilities. So I think...
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The Telangana government should look at bigger problems they have than to police what lyrics Diljit, somebody who's actually progressive, responsible.
RK is just looking down
Youth-
upon
the
all
youth in
of
this
us and our
country needs
opinions.
more-
RK, tell
more
us
role
what is a
models.
Patiala pack for those who are not aware. Is it 60, 90, 30? How much is it?
He said he's not advertising alcohol,
90.
right?
No, he knows it. Educate us.
No, it's Patiala peg is 90. A large is 60 and a small is 30. In Sri Lanka, a small is 25 and a large is 50. And you go for double the large, and that's 100. Yeah.
States have literally two things they get money from, taxes from. One is excise, second is petrol. They're not going to do anything.
And we all know what the Gujarat story is when they abolish alcohol, right? How the underground makes a huge profit out of it. Yeah. So
Pawan Kalyan wants a social media abuse protection bill in Andhra Pradesh.
Because Pawan Kalyan is unaware of all the
Existing
other
laws.
existing laws. Yeah.
And also the fact that, look, what people don't realize, what lawmakers don't realize is the fact that the problem is that it's not about the fact that we don't have laws. It's about implementation and capacity, right? Who will go and implement these laws? Does our police have enough resources? Are there enough judges? Are there enough lawyers? And trust me, there are not enough lawyers. You wouldn't believe it, but that's actually
We
a
are
fact.
having too many lawyers in South Central. First episode had 2 lawyers. Second episode has two lawyers.
But I think the concentration of lawyer within a podcast room is probably higher than what is there in the country, so to speak.
You guys are not
So we
practicing
have-
enough.
Because they're busy in podcasts.
Exactly. Yeah.
We are busy in podcasting, so there are not enough lawyers in the country. There are not enough judges in the country. So instead of focusing on enforcement of laws, everyone wants to create new laws. This is what happens whenever there is a bad incident that happens.
A.R. Rahman and wife Saira Banu announced separation after 29 years of marriage.
That was a big headline. I mean, obviously they've not said much. I only have one thing to say. A.R. Rahman has to sack his PR agency because they actually tweeted out whatever his statement is, and they added a hashtag AR Saira. What is it? Breakup. AR Saira something. Why would you have a hashtag for that tweet? Just for that, he should sack his PR agency.
yeah, I think that is the only thing there to discuss in this news, other than it's a personal
Just the
matter and they
hashtag.
have requested privacy, and we have to.
There was actually a question which somebody was posing on social media, which I thought is interesting. That why are Indian celebrities now, announcing their separation publicly? Is it also because if they don't do and people discover it through some other route, there will be a lot of reporting and gossiping around it. So it's just easier to put it out there.
It's managed
It's more
PR.
dignified to just announce it rather than speculation.
Yeah,
But
that statement clears there.
I don't think there's anything wrong with putting hashtags. It's his divorce. If he wants to put
RK, are
hashtag
you
and announce
bursting
it,
to
I
say
am
something
fine.
about this?
No, the thing is that, see, only thing that is slightly funny, marriages are being encashed now, right? With even with Nayanthara and all that. It's a huge show, and then there is a video made of it. Now there is a Netflix series out of it and all of that. So somehow somebody should also learn to, or rather these divorcing celebrities should also learn to make money out of divorces. And then it will become really, really huge thing, and everybody will want to divorce, I guess. And that's the best way to go, if you ask me, I know.
No, I think one good thing is
Largely, see, A.R. Rahman has been living in LA for the longest time, and he seems to have much better creativity out of there than he's here. Of course, he comes here very, very frequently. But it's a very, very difficult thing to pull off here. I mean, if you're in two different cities and two different time zones, and his own creativity is also a problem in the sense that, he wakes up very late, works through the night, and then sleeps when he feels up to it and all of it. That actually puts a lot of strain. And the wife has also been very tolerant of all these things for the longest time. I think at some point, I guess things don't work out.
I think the one good thing that I find this is normalizing separation on mutual terms, and making that part of Indian culture conversations, because 30 years you have invested in a marriage. Oh, what's there more? Like, put another 20 more years, or kids have all grown up. What do you have to now get separated for? Is a conversation Indian culture has always had. And we know many people in our previous generation have just remained in marriage, even though there is nothing like a warm bond between them. So I think it's great that people and celebrities come out and do this publicly and put a statement out, because Indian culture really needs that conversation.
So there is a book by Harari. I can't remember the name of the book. I'm going to just summarize it very quickly, but a large part of it deals with how companies like Google, etc., are putting money into making sure that people live longer. So then he actually contemplates, so if you, let's say, live for 130 years, can you have one job then? Can you just, like, Leena is good because Leena is already a lawyer and a journalist, but I am just a journalist, right? Do I want to be a journalist for like 100 years of my life? Should I have just one spouse? Just saying that it's a very interesting
book, right? One after Sapiens.
Yes, one after Sapiens.
Homodius.
Last headline, Delhi chokes in smog. Overall AQI is at 494. This was in the morning. I don't know how much it is now. 180 flights delayed. Schools go online. I was reading that a flight, I'm not sure from where, landed in Jaipur, and they were all driven to Delhi in a bus.
I'm thinking of punishment transfers for News Minute to Delhi. Like, if anybody does not perform well, transfer to Delhi for a month.
Yeah. No, I don't know how many of you have lived in Delhi, but I've lived in Delhi for close to 10 years and have firsthand, that's the first time that I realized that I was asthmatic and needed, like, every first few Decembers I would be airlifted, put in a hospital in Kerala to recover, because my system couldn't adjust to the pollution there. So and I cannot even imagine what it'd be like.
You go to Delhi quite often, Nikhil?
I go to Delhi quite often because both Supreme Court and Delhi High Court have a lot of matters. So I face the same issue. Whenever you land in Delhi, the Delhi airport itself, there is like that burn smell, and you realize that it hits you much harder because you're coming from either Kerala or Bangalore, right? So it hits you very hard. It's very difficult. Luckily, I live in mostly hotels, so it's largely taken care of. But it's very difficult to even stay outside for more than an hour or so.
Interestingly, all the big judges, all the big politicians, everyone live in Delhi, or big bureaucrats, and this is happening to them.
But
this
it's slightly less in the center of the Lutyens' Delhi.
Lifespan? I don't think so.
Apparently it is, right?
It does shorten the lifespan. But the interesting thing is, it's actually much better in Lutyens compared to you go outside Delhi, right? If you go to a Janakpuri or some other place like that, then it's much harder. It hits you much harder there rather than in actual center of Delhi.
No, it's a little different now because of the massive construction that is happening. Central Secretariat, that nonsense, this nonsense. And Lutyens Delhi is as bad as any other place because of the kind of dust it actually creates. Now, the larger question here, we have known this for 20 years. Supreme Court has been talking about it. Beijing had a similar problem, and I remember Ananth Hindu's correspondent in Beijing, who has just come back, he has put out something very significant. Beijing had a worse problem. How did they handle it? I mean, they managed to handle it in about 15 years' time. And now Beijing air is much, much better than most of our air anywhere in any Indian city itself. So why is it that the central government, the state government doesn't have any powers, Supreme Court or our scientific establishments, why are we not able to handle it? I think it's a serious question. It shows that government of India is a mess, number one. It is no willpower to even look after the health of the Prime Minister and President and the top generals of this country. Then what are we doing? I mean, it really casts a serious aspersions on the capacity of the Indian nation itself. So I think it's way beyond a problem of us facing trouble. But I think collectively, we have failed as a nation, as a country, as a government.
I agree. I agree with you.
No, I think it is also shows the elitism that is there, because all these the president, the prime minister, the bureaucrats, and the judges, they all sit in rooms with air purifiers, while it's a common man who's really taking the brunt of what is happening there.
But frankly, even with an air purifier, it will probably come down to 300,
Right.
right? So it won't be like it's pure. So they are also affected, right? In some way.
In some ways, yes.
The
Yeah.
common man, of course, is affected much more.
Much more.
I was reading that Pakistan also has the same problem, right? There was some talk of the two governments coming together to find a solution, because it travels to this side of the
Correct.
border too, right?
And it's also not just a Delhi problem. It's actually pretty much across the
exactly.
north.
It's a North Indian
Yeah,
problem.
it's a
now.
North Indian problem.
Okay, everybody has to calm down because we have 3 topics to discuss and we have not reached there. Therefore, we'll go to our first topic, which apparently, I took a vote in office as to what to discuss, and everybody wanted us to discuss Nayanthara versus Dhanush. For those living under a rock and not aware of what is happening, Nayanthara had a movie release on Netflix, which is her wedding with Vignesh Shivan. The wedding happened 2 years ago, but the movie is releasing only now. The reason for the delay, one of the reasons was that there's a particular clip, there are particular clips that she wanted to use from this movie called Nanum Rowdydan, which was produced by Dhanush, a superstar. So Dhanush apparently did not give permission. Finally, they had to remove those clippings. They put out a documentary with a few behind the scenes, BTS shots. After the promo of the documentary was out, Dhanush sent a 10 crore rupee notice to Nayanthara. We may all have been blissfully unaware of all this, but we all knew about it because Nayanthara published a statement which I think is very uncharacteristic for a female actor, whatever stature it is, to take on someone like Dhanush, right, who's very embedded in that system. So she just lashed out at Dhanush, saying that you have been harassing me for a long time now, and this is a culmination of all that. So we'll of course have 2 parts of the discussion. One is, what do the IP laws say? There's a lot of debate online, Nikhil, saying that why should she's profiting from her movie, so why can't he profit too? Why can't he ask a share from it?
So look, as a typical lawyer, let me start with what we call as a caveat, right? So it's all blurred, right? But having said that, typically when you produce a movie, the producer is the owner of the copyright. But that is with respect to the movie itself. So Nanum Rowdydan and all the promos and every songs and every aspect, Dhanush will be the copyright owner. And when you sign a contract with Dhanush, you assign on your intellectual property right to Dhanush. That's typically the way it works. But with respect to behind the scenes, right? The practice in Indian cinema is that behind the scenes, if it's an official behind the screen shooting that happens, that goes to the producer and that will be captured clearly in the contract. If it's something which is taken in your mobile phone, like for instance, let's say that we are sitting in this room, I am opening my mobile phone and shooting this. You cannot say that, look, you can stop me. You can stop me and say, look, don't shoot it. It's actually belongs to News Minute. In which case you can claim the ownership over that. Otherwise, it's what I shoot. It's my right. Nowadays, in James Cameron movies and some of the big magnum opus that happens, they also have clauses on secrecy and ownership on even the behind-the-scene shooting on your mobiles as well. So looking at all the factors right now, it looks like I don't think Nayanthara will be in trouble even if Dhanush were to proceed before a court, due to one reason that it's actually shot on the mobile phone. Secondly, fact of the matter is we have a principle known as de minimis, which is that if there is only a small part of the clip which is used, this is just 3 seconds. And this
No, it's actually 39 seconds, I think, in
promo
totality
had
in the
just
movie.
3
promo had
seconds,
just
but
3
the
seconds.
whole
Even if it's
documentary
30
had
seconds, if you just look at it, it's relevant to her life, right? She's an individual, she's a person, she's lived her life, she's an actor, she acted in a movie where she met her, husband, right? So it's very integral to the storytelling per se, and it's just a small part, a 30-second clip.
Can you explain de minimis again?
So de minimis essentially means that, look, for instance, let's say I'm going on a show, right, a TV show. I just hum one single tune of a particular song without necessarily copying the song itself, right? Why do you have IP rights? The reason why you give IP rights, that's what people forget, is one, to incentivize the innovator. I'm singing a song, I'm writing a good movie or a novel. I should be allowed to earn some profit on it so that it incentivizes more people to produce more content. Secondly, so that people can get access to it, so that I don't keep it with me. I sell the novel that I've written or the book that I've written. So these are the 2 principles. But if I just sing a particular line of a particular song, right, that does not necessarily amount to violating your right, because, I'm just admiring you. I'm not copying you. I'm not saying that it's actually mine. I'm not making an illegal copy of something and selling it. So if it's something very minimal, the courts typically look at it favorably. and say that, look, it's not a big deal. Why don't you just, it doesn't even make sense for us to adjudicate these kind of matters. This is a standard courts typically take. But this is a factual determination, right? So I'm just commenting from whatever public facts available to us, whatever we know through the copy of the notice which was leaked, the fact that only 30 seconds of the clip was used, etc. It's appears to me like it is sort of, unnecessary creating a controversy, or probably Dhanush was acting a bit unfair to Nayanthara. Look, things may change if the contract comes out. If let's say that there was a contract between Nayanthara and Dhanush saying that, look, everything that happens in the sets. Even first of all, you cannot shoot in your mobile phone. Even if you shoot, then I have the right to it, etc. If there is a clause like that, then of course things can change. But typically that's not a standard.
But the legal notice does
Indian
not
law.
seem to say that there was any such contract. Leena, just explain like how does IP work in movies itself? I was reading that the Copyright Act of 1957 applies, but in movies, different people have rights,
No,
right?
yeah,
The
Nikhil,
producer-
I would like to weigh in here too. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But what I understand is, like, in movies, the complete right often doesn't vest in the producer itself. Like, if it's, we know the Ilayaraja cases, right, where it is movie songs, then the rights, Ilayaraja keeps the rights to a song, and even when SP has sang it, or like the Guna movie song that the Malayalam movie
Manual Boys.
Manual Boys
Yeah,
replayed.
I'll come to that.
Yeah, he had a serious case there because Ilayaraja had the rights. They went, SP didn't. SP sang the song on a stage show, whereas Guna, these Manual Boys, these guys went and took the permission of the producer, whereas they didn't have the permission from Ilayaraja, and Ilayaraja had the rights to the. So if they are making profit out of his work, and when he has right, they're supposed to pay him also a part of the profit. It's not some big money that he's asking. He's asking for a legitimate profit, and by all means, that is allowed, and the courts would support such a claim. But here, you
So
have to-
I'll tell you the differentiation between the two,
Yeah.
right? So typically in the movie industry, what happens is that when a producer produces a movie, everyone who acts. So I've also produced one movie. So what I did is,
what is that? Which is
it's
that?
a Malayalam movie. It's premiered in Mami. It's called Summer of Miracles in 2017. We won a state award
Put
for
the
best
link.
child
How
actor.
he just slipped that in?
So it's on it's on IMDb as well. I mean,
So
it's,
next time we'll introduce you as a film producer and lawyer.
once in a erstwhile
My God.
film producer, you can say, and a erstwhile, I've done shorts as well.
Okay.
So basically, when you act in a movie, typically you give all rights to the producer, right? Then what happened was that there was a lot of exploitation of, largely in the song industry, right? What producers used to do is they used to get assigned the right to all the songs and everybody, including the songs. They'll pay 50 lakhs and get all the rights, and they will sell it for 5 crores. This became a big issue. And Javed Akhtar, somewhere around 2011-2012, came up with a new concept and introduced that as an amendment into the Copyright Act. It's called as typically we call it the Javed Akhtar clause. And what that has done is it has created more confusion. And that's actually the genesis of the Ilayaraja issue. It's slightly different from the Dhanush issue. Typically, when it comes to a performer, somebody who's acting, you give all rights to them and the actor doesn't retain any right. But that's different with respect to sound recordings or music. So
and script writing also.
and script writing also. And the way it works is, it's what it does, what this amendment does, this Javed Akhtar amendment does, is that it says that despite the fact that you assign the right to the producer, the songwriter, the composer, the singer, and various other performers involved in songs and everything should be entitled to an equal share of royalties, right? We don't know what that equal share of royalty really means. So which means that even if Manuel guys went to Guna producer and got the rights from them, or if they went to a copyright society like a PPL or IPRS and others and got the rights to a particular song, others who have also participated in that song, like for instance Ilayaraja, can claim this royalty from them. So it's actually created a lot more confusion in the industry right now.
So my next doubt is, like Leena was saying, so Ilayaraja is asking an SP Balasubramaniam not to sing his song without paying royalty. He's asked
Correct.
other singers also.
Correct.
What you're saying is that the song belongs not just to Ilayaraja, but the others also have to get royalty.
SPB also has a performer right in the song.
So then how is Ilayaraja asking SPB?
Ilayaraja says, give me my money, right?
he's not asking
Ilayaraja
for
will
the
have a
whole
share.
money.
He's not also asking for the whole money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way it works is, typically when you produce a song, what producer will acquire the rights and then will assign the right to a copyright society. They'll give it to a IPRS or a Phonographic Performance Limited of India. So they retain the right to actually play the song anywhere else. And if you want to even play the music in your, in a public compound or in a festival, you need to go and pay some royalty and get the right. But now with this Javed Akhtar amendment, even when you get that right legally after paying, let's say, a few lakhs to play this song, Ilayaraja and SPB and he's someone who's passed away, but any singer who's participated in this event can actually go and claim royalty over the song. That's a new confusion that this Javed Akhtar clause has created. And there are litigations ongoing in this. Some of them I'm also part of it. I'm not getting into it because it's sub judice.
No, I think I understand your problem coming from a legal point of view, but I think that's more fair, right? Because, I mean, I don't know if a song would have been hit just because somebody produced it. It also who sang it and whole lot of things, right? But I also have a question to RK, because I think there's a power equation in this Nayanthara Dhanush thing also, right? Two documentaries I want to refer to. One is Romantics. I don't know how many of you watched it. It's about Yash Chopra.
Aditya Chopra's.
Yeah.
Aditya Chopra.
Yash Chopra. They're speaking about Yash Chopra.
Yash Chopra.
Aditya Chopra is featured in it. And the second
She's
one is
actually
Andre-
watched it. I think.
watched it.
Mm.
I
Okay,
have watched it.
Even I was.
Academic interest.
Hmm.
And
Academic interest. Sure.
listen, I have a very broad horizon.
Uh-huh.
I watch and consume a whole bunch of things.
Sure.
She didn't know Diljit Dosanjh,
I knew.
since you mentioned Javed Akhtar. My question is, in that they've used a lot of archival footage. How do you make a documentary like this without using footage, right? So is this also some form of bullying by Dhanush? And the entire industry has kind of aligned with him. That is
Largely
very
Malayali
telling, right?
actress. Interesting. I've seen that it's
That is
largely-
against him.
Oh,
But
against
RK,
him, yeah.
is there a power struggle that you see here? A power bullying?
There is definitely a power play, but different from what you're talking about. You should realize that Nayanthara was and her husband were the people who actually put together a massive but improper show during the chess tournament, the world chess tournament, which was held here. Nayanthara is very close to the Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Udayanidhi Stalin. So that is the power play. That is where possibly Nayanthara gets the courage to actually take on a Dhanush. Because if you need to release a movie in Tamil Nadu today, you will have to go through Red Giant Movies. You cannot, there is no other distributor in town who can actually give you the kind of opening that a massive Dhanush movie can actually do. In fact, I was talking to Nanjil Sambat the other day. He's not a major player. He's a politician now aligned with the DMK. And he was telling me that this could be an exaggeration, but massive numbers. Nearly 1,000 movies are in various stages of post production, and there at least 5 movies that he had acted in itself is currently awaiting release. So that's the situation in Tamil Nadu. Everything is controlled by just one distributor, and that one distributor happens to be Nayanthara's friend. I don't think
No,
that
but
friendship
RK,
is
I have
broken
I
yet.
have a small
Uh,
difference of opinion here. One is, of course, Nayanthara may be taking on Dhanush because she has the backing of Udayanidhi Stalin or whatever. But why not? Dhanush also is a part of a hegemonic structure, right? In one way, I mean, there are, the reason that a lot of his co-stars have gone and liked Nayanthara's post is also seen as an endorsement that they also face troubles with him, right? So why
What is
not?
his problem? It's a BTS video, 30 seconds, 3 seconds. I mean, what is he losing really?
There is no moral argument also
There
in favor
isn't
of
one,
him,
right? Let's keep the
No,
legalities
so
aside
RK,
for a
what is
second.
the problem if Nayanthara does use a friendship to take on Dhanush?
No, I'm just saying that this is the power equation in play. Number one. Number two, I have no opinion about what kind of a guy Dhanush is, because I happen to have known him for a while, and it is very, very clear. What you say is very, very clear. In fact, there are YouTube videos being made out of people who actually went and liked Nayanthara's post, and it has been found that all these have been lead actors, heroines who worked with him for the past 3 years or 2 years or something. So it's very clear why they are doing it. It is very clear that Dhanush has a reputation issue. Everywhere we have this issue, and it's just not going away, despite the fact that there has been so much spirited struggle against it in Kerala. And it really, literally, it remains confined to Kerala. And it's just not affecting anywhere else. Of course, producers union here has done something. Council has made some kind of a body and all of that. Nothing really works when it comes to exploitation of women, or even catcalling women, or even passing of lewd acts as humor in sets and in cassette releases functions. And what is it? It's no longer cassette release, songs
Music
release or
release,
whatever.
audio
release.
release.
That is.
I want to ask one thing. We'll just go back to the IP law itself before we wrap this up. Do you believe the IP laws in India are as developed as perhaps in other countries? Or
So essentially, IP law in US essentially has become a complete sort of a rent-seeking mafia sort of a institution, right? Like for instance, Mickey Mouse, for that matter. Mickey Mouse copyright term was extended thrice or twice by the Congress, right? It just entered public domain. And the public domain, what entered public domain was a steam billy boat Mickey Mouse, which is like an old image, which, our kids won't even recognize or we won't even recognize if you see that Mickey Mouse. In US, is a big lobby. Similarly, using this kind of lobbies, they've tried to limit access to life-saving drugs, access to, they try to deny access to us for the COVID vaccine, right? Essentially, the global south was denied access to COVID vaccine. So yes, Indian one is not that developed, and there is a reason why we have not let it develop also. But even right now, our IP laws have actually become some sort of a rent-seeking establishment. It's not about, folks like, doing podcasts and trying to earn some money out of it to make a living. It's actually people who create content 60, 70 years back, right? And then what they'll have is they'll have a team of people working on it. And till the last person in that team passes away, 60 years, which is a period of copyright, will start ticking from the time of the passing away of that particular person, which means that copyright typically it extends to 100, 140 years. This is a complete unexploitation and against the original moral principles of copyright itself. And it's time that we start challenging it. To answer your question, it's not developed. It's for a good reason that it's not developed.
But I just wanted to add one example since you were talking about US. So Mike Tyson's tattoo artist, apparently, he tried to sue the Hangover producers. Hangover 2, where I don't know if you guys have seen. Please tell me you've seen Hangover.
I have.
It
Yes.
is amazingly entertaining.
Mike Tyson and Tiger, right?
Yeah. So in the second one where they go to Bangkok and they all wake up with tattoos on their face. So one of them wakes up, the dentist, right? And so he wanted, he sued them saying that it's my design. Mike Tyson is part of that movie. He eventually comes and he didn't have a problem. Of
Let's
course,
not
the injunction
give Dhanush
was...
more ideas. But what I just want to say is that, like Nikhil was explaining how the singer and the lyricist have to take this much royalty. There's no such thing in our subscription. It's 50-50 for Newslaundry and the News Minute. So become a subscriber. No royalty problems, no IP problems between us. Now we want to see, this is how you plug.
Same with my legal
Subscription.
services.
You're a quick learner.
Yeah. No, because in the first episode, Abhinandan warned us strictly that, what is it? About aesthetics, you have to plug in the subscription. Commerce trumps aesthetics, he said. So we are just looking for ways to plug. But on a serious note, do check out the subscriptions. The second topic is about this vitriolic BJP leader who is a state committee member. His name is Sandeep Varier. He joined the Congress party recently. He's from Palakkad and he's joined just before the Palakkad by-elections happened. So if you're comparing Sandeep, there are a lot of leaders in the BJP who are not as vitriolic or bigoted. For example, even in Karnataka, we take examples of so many leaders, including B.S. Yediyurappa himself. If they join the Congress tomorrow, wouldn't be as shocking or surprising. But here's a man who's very much seen on television almost on a daily basis, taking every single hard Hindutva stance. And the next day, he just joins the Congress and he says things like, I was actually sold on their hate. So I said hateful stuff. But now I have joined Rahul Gandhi's Mohabbat ki Dukaan. These are not my words. He said this. So is it really that easy for politicians to make the transition? RK, what are your first thoughts? Like, I was thinking, why is the Congress even taking Sandeep Varier? Because how does it add to value to their party? Leena, I want to say something.
Yeah, Dhanya, before you enter this conversation, I would like to point out that he was not vitriolic enough for the BJP guys. Because earlier what we understood is that the BJP guys, they were groomed by the RSS. So as to that, even in North India, even when I was reporting from the RSS offices, that they have a sort of contempt for BJP politicians because they think that they are not ideological enough, that RSS grooms them sort of, and then they uses it for their own personal agendas and gains because they have politics and BJP's visibility mission to them. But here it is different. Here is a guy who now BJP thinks is like, not vitriolic enough for them, has differences, and we know the factionalism that operates in BJP in Kerala. So for me, it's an interesting observation there where you say that this is one of the most hated guys on television coming and supporting all the BJP's.
He was very aggressive. He was very effective. At the same time, he was very popular even amongst the non-BJP supporters.
Correct.
I've been on channel charchas with this particular gentleman where we've gotten agitated with me for many reasons. But I think what really surprised me, the fact is, CPM actually went for him and had
Exactly.
a discussion with him. So now I think one of the things that we should remember here is the fact that what's happening to CPM as well, because this was a party for which if you want to get a membership, right, you had to work for at least 2 to 3 years in their associated organizations. So my mom is a CPM member, right? I'm telling you that she had worked so many years on various organizations, and then she finally got a member, and when she received it, she received it like a badge of honor. She was like, I worked so hard, the party recognized me with a membership. Now they're running around and asking people like him to join him is a disgrace.
So before we go to RK, just notice how Nikhil has a life experience for every story here. He produced a movie. His mother is a CPI member. RK, what are your thoughts?
My dad is a CPI. He was
so
a
next
CPI
time we
member
discuss
also.
CPI also, you can be here. Yes.
Yeah, see, this is because of Palakad's distinctive politics, which you also know because you are from Chandranagar. I am from Shornur, so both of us know what it is about. See, basically, you need every single person who has gone away from Congress to come back. Who have become a BJP member. You remember 2 months ago there was the RSS national conclave in Palgad. BJP is much stronger in Palgad than it ever was. So BJP having a candidate there, Congress was only looking at the larger picture, which basically is that if they win Chertala, Palakad and Wayanad, then there will be much more opportunity to put pressure on the LDF to the extent that the LDF will be completely dysfunctional from say 23rd of November till we have elections whenever 2026 year and a half or whatever. So the issue is to try and maximize the vote, given the fact that Shafi has had a problem within the Congress, the split and all of those. So those votes going away, they wanted to make up for the votes. So the Muslim votes alone, or the minority of votes alone in Palgad, will not make the cut, so to speak, for the candidate to win. So I think they were trying to get anybody and everybody who was coming in. Any commie coming in also they would have taken. Anybody from any party, regardless of reputation, they would have taken at that point, even if it's meant only 50 votes or 100 votes. That was the Congress thinking, from what I know from the ground in Palgad. I was there in Palgad just before the elections. Talked to a few people, and some of them are my compatriots and people of the same age. So they were all of the view that election jaikanam allangu vadilla, can't really fight commies like this, because the fact that they have been fighting it for more than 7-8 years now, and it is going to be impossible if the Congress is going to lose another election. So patience with allies also is running out, or the patience of the allies also is running out, because the Congress has become a cropper. So there's so much pressure on the Congress to win all the three and win all the three with decent margins. Of course, why not? They don't have a problem, but both these Palakkad and Chertala, they have to really come out all guns blazing. Otherwise, the Congress in Kerala is in for a major shock, if not.
No, I want to, as a non-Malayali in the room, I want to talk about, I don't know why all of you are so outraged.
Oh my God, only one, get out.
Oh my God, this is South Central. This is not Kerala Central. But
This is just for diversity that we have.
Diversity recruit.
Yes.
No, I am actually amused that all of you are so outraged. I think India has been seen.
We are not outraged.
We are not
You
outraged.
have been ranting for the last
See,
3
the
days.
politics
Look,
of
in
Kerala
Kerala, you can't
politics
talk
of Kerala
about
is very
politics.
different.
I think you're all delusional. I'm sorry. All this, we are so different and all of that. Because look at communist politics in West Bengal, right? After Mamata Banerjee came to power, how many communist leaders and cadre also joined BJP? Because for them, one, it was about protection from TMC and their leaders. Second, also, I was speaking to a few journalists from West Bengal, and they said that, look, I mean, yes, all your ideology and all great. But in West Bengal, it was a party of upper caste, right? They were catering to upper caste. So for them, the transition is not very difficult from CPIM to BJP. Look at what's happening in Maharashtra, right? Ajit Pawar, in an interview to Newslaundry and News Minutes, Srinivasan Jain. By the way, you can watch the full interview only if you're a member. So make sure you're a member and you can watch the entire interview. This is an agenda-setting interview with Ajit Pawar, where he openly said, let's not talk about ideology in the elections, right? Because everybody just wants to come to power. So this is a normalized thing in politics. people who don't accept it are in fact
Pooja, this is
living in a
exactly
cocoon.
the point. Like Kerala, the politics so far was very ideology driven. Like in
was.
Congress, you can turn from this group to that group. You rarely walk out of the party and go somewhere else. So that ideology driven thing that was part of Kerala politics is now vanishing, is
Yeah.
what we can see. Like,
So it's
Padmaja and Anil Antony walking out of the party and all that. That kind of rooting, ideological rooting is now completely absent. Earlier, when I was in North India and I was understanding North Indian politics, there is always what we call is Congress is BJP minus the cow, or it's the way that it has been a very religiosity driven, caste driven equation in Congress. But Kerala, we understood it in a different manner. But here now, it's all looking the same now.
So we are looking at a post-ideological era of politics in Kerala. It's very clear, but some very interesting things which are here, right? So Sandeep Varier started as an SFI activist in the
Right.
beginning, right? Then he started using very borderline vitriolic, I would say. He was probably not the worst of the BJP spokesperson.
I
in
like
my
how you
opinion.
guys are so
No,
kind to him.
this must be
Saying that he's
anecdotal.
not
So
vitriolic,
he was one
border
of the-
vitriolic.
See, whatever said and done, he actually made BJP a little more acceptable in Kerala, to give him some credit, right? He
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
was the better amongst and probably the most intelligent spokesperson of BJP in Kerala.
My
Right?
God. We have a,
Then
we
he's
have a
going to throw you
closet
out.
Sandeep
I thought
Varier
you've had
fan.
fights with him and
I
still
have,
much
so I
love.
have some respect for the man. I mean,
Oh
he actually
my
did
God.
well, right? I mean, he played his role very well. So the interesting thing about him is a very interesting shift is happening in Kerala politics. So one is, of course, the Congress CPM point that mentioned. CPM has interestingly started pondering to, the so-called majority appeasement, which is suddenly a shift from their stand so far right now, which is something that we've never seen CPM do so blatantly. That's also happening. So it's a very different world of politics that we are seeing in Kerala
No,
right
I
now.
think the new India, the center has shifted more to the right. So
Correct.
the left also comes more towards the center and
Absolutely.
panders to different crowd.
Absolutely.
But you were talking about him being from SFI. I want to come to Karnataka, which is now being very badly ignored. This is a state that has pioneered party jumping like no other state has. But it's not new, right? Because all of us think it started like in the last 10, 15 years or whatever, the resort politics. But Karnataka has seen this starting 60s and 70s from when, Devraj Ayers and others were at the helm of affairs. But then I think it didn't strike us so much because, I mean, of course, I wasn't born, but the rest of you who were there.
That's only RK, 1960s.
You were
Yes.
not around?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
but on a serious note, I think joining a communist party, CPI, CPIM, whichever, from Congress or vice versa, didn't seem to scandalize us that much, right? Because they're not so ideologically polarized like BJP in Congress today looks like. But at the time, it was quite polarized because Congress was the party of political autocracy, and people who fought against Congress, how can you go join hands with them? And we have somebody, I don't know if you know, he's a former Chief Minister of Karnataka, S. Bangarappa. He is the ultimate party hopper. He was in SP, he joined BJP, he started his own party, Karnataka Congress Party something. He went to Congress, went back to Janata Dal, came back to Congress. It's hard to keep track of how many parties he's jumped.
But
So-
RK, do you believe that this is like what Nikhil was saying, this is a post-ideology politics? Or are we seeing ideology agnostic politics? Now, my point initially was that there are a lot of politicians who belong to political parties, but they don't have strict ideology, including why I took B.S. Yedurappa's name is that he doesn't behave like a lot of other Hindutva leaders within the BJP, right? So you have taken someone who behaved like that, and in one night you have whitewashed him, and he's now a Mohabbat ki dukan seller. So are we seeing that ideologically agnostic politics now?
It depends on the place, Dhanya. See, if you go to Maharashtra, there is no ideology at all. You can be in BJP one morning, you can be in the Congress in the afternoon with Sharad Pawar, Ajit Pawar, then go back to Shinde, and then finally, have dinner with Uddhav. There is no problem at all, and that's why I'm very depressed about Maharashtra politics, because absolutely zero ideology with any of the political formations. You come to Kerala, yes, with Pinarayi Vijayan, there is a real crisis of ideology, because Pinarayi Vijayan is not known to be an intellectual. He's supposed to be a street fighter, and that reputation he brings from Kannur to Trivandrum, and has completely muddied the waters there to the extent that Politburo is useless, given the fact that it's only in power in Kerala at this point of time. A Prakash Karat cannot clean this up, regardless of the fact that he's in charge today. You look at Tamil Nadu, Stalin was the ideological lightweight in the entire party. And today, because of him, the ideology has taken primacy. It's come to the forefront. That is because it just requires one person. Where did this even phraseology, Dravidian politics, come into existence? It was only a 2021 phenomena. Because Stalin decided it has to be so, he phrased it in such a way, and it came into prominence, right? We were talking about Dravidian politics, but then the point is that he brought it out and made it posit against the Hindutva ideology, which was gaining prominence, right, from 2014 onwards. And that is a kind of ideological flight. But what do we see in Tamil Nadu? Again, Stalin has brought a son into politics, and not into politics itself. I mean, like, okay, 2018, and finally now he's deputy chief minister. We do not talk much about that, but we talk about this ideological underpinnings of the fight between the Hindutva and Dravidian politics, because there is so much problem on that count itself. Yesterday itself, the LIC issue, where suddenly the LIC's homepage turns Hindi. Nobody else noticed. It was the government of Tamil Nadu which noticed. It was Stalin who took a stand on it. Kerala government has still not noticed it. Kerala government doesn't have a stand as of today on it. Karnataka government doesn't bother. So the ideological fights are fought on these planes, whether it is language imposition or any of the other things. I believe that, if Pinarayi Vijayan takes a backseat and somebody else comes to the forefront, then maybe there is a chance that CPM gets back to its ideological moorings and roots and starts or practices the kind of politics which is way different from the Insta politics that it practices now.
So my final question to you before wrapping up this RK is that, let's say tomorrow a leader like H. Raja from the BJP wants to join the DMK. Would that also be okay? That's what my question is. Like, are these political parties which talk about Dravidism, liberalism, progressiveness, whatever it is, just fine to take these people the very next day?
He couldn't win a election to scouts.
But
and
what did
guides,
Sandeep
yeah.
Varier
No,
win?
that is my entire point.
What did Sandeep Varier win?
No, that is the whole point. Because I also want to counter what RK is saying. Today, DMK talks about Hindutva and all of that. They allied with the BJP post Kodra, right? Post Babri Masjid. Where was ideology then? So are we saying only those who openly come and speak about certain things now, because now that's the new normal, those won't be taken? Even Jayalalitha was great friends with Narendra Modi post Godra again. So what are we talking about ideology? Shiv Sena, which was with Indira Gandhi during emergency, later became a Hindutva party then became too Hindutva even for BJP, today is with Congress. I think it is just political opportunism, even in Tamil Nadu, despite what all of you want to claim.
RK.
It's okay. I mean, like, it's a fact. All these are facts. But then there are larger, issues beneath that, why political parties do certain things in certain manner. My larger point is that DMK has had this Dravidian ideology, trying to get rid of Brahminism and all of that. That those underpinnings has never gone away. My point is that when you have a Shiv Sena, regionalism plus communalism, when you have Congress in Maharashtra, with leaders from all these cocktail parties, what are you talking about? That's what there is an ideology. Communist parties do have an ideology. The only problem is reclaiming those ideologies, which is what Stalin has done, at least to some extent. I will write something very serious about this on the DMK itself soon. I mean, it's just procrastination.
Now RK is behaving like us.
doesn't
He's
make
plugging
me.
in his future article.
No, RK, can I ask you one question about this? Who do you think in Kerala is there in the next rung who can ideologically move the party after Pinarayi leaves the stage?
See, unfortunately, it is only the JNU crowd which can move, and there needs to be fighters on the ground. Maybe even somebody like Thomas Isaac, or even teacher. Shailaja teacher.
Swaraj or teacher.
Yeah, Shailaja teacher can do the fight, and Thomas Isaac can be the intellectual heft. So
JNU crowd can't be trusted. Look at what happened with Shaila. Please.
So Kasturi Shankar, an actor, was arrested from Hyderabad by the Chennai police. This is for comments that she made during a Brahmin protection rally in Chennai. She in fact talked about Telugu people. She was taking a dig at Karunanidhi's family, and she said that look at these people who have come from Andhra Pradesh, and now they are calling us, which is Brahmins, outsiders. A case was filed. She was rejected bail. And now, of course, she's moved for bail. She was rejected anticipatory bail and she was arrested. So what are your thoughts, RK, on the case itself? And do you believe that this arrest itself is a bit too much, or was it necessary?
It's a nonsensical case. There was no need to arrest her. Obviously, some people could have spoken about her. Defamation is always there is a legal avenue available. I don't, agree with the arrest. I don't agree with the incarceration also. In fact, Sauku Shankar has just tweeted that there are going to be some more cases filed against her. Her child is a special child. I think it's ridiculous that the government has decided to arrest her. Not just her. Even when Sauku Shankar was arrested, my question was this: what? I mean, just because somebody speaks something against an ADGP launder of the state and a couple of people close to chief minister, are you going to arrest him and put gundas on him? What kind of state is this? There is a serious problem here. I mean, I was ridiculed for taking this stand, but the point happens to be that Sauku Shankar is not a gunda. He may have spoken like a thug, but then he's not a thug. So there is a definition for a thug. Somebody goes out the streets and or digitally he tries to make money out of people or whatever. But that's not what Sauk Shankar was doing. So that arrest is wrong. Kasturi's arrest is wrong, and lot of other arrests that has happened around these times. This is all completely nonsensical and wrong. I think it is because. People in finally at the end of the day, buck stops with the chief minister. But then, unfortunately, there are too many people wielding the power here, and I think this is a ridiculous state to be. I'm very sure that friends from Kerala are really shocked that somebody says some nonsense about somebody else, and that fellow gets arrested and thrown into jail, and especially a woman at that.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask if she's a soft target because let's look at the sections, right? 196, that's promoting enmity between groups. 197, imputations, assertions, prejudicial to national integration. This new BNSS is a tongue twister. 352, intentional insult to provoke breach of peace. And 353, statements conducting public mischief. I want to ask you, Annamalai, during that entire Lavanya episode, right? He said things that are far more problematic. So I didn't see him getting arrested, being booked under 196. And what he said, some of the things fit into it perfectly well. Is Kasturi Shankar a soft target for the DMK?
Yeah, absolutely, she's a soft target, and they want to, show everybody their place, I guess. And this is getting really way out of hand. And there is not just whispers. There is talk in Tamil Nadu that MK Stalin is acting exactly like Narendra Modi in Delhi and throwing all his critics in jail. I think that is a very well judged criticism, and I think the government of Tamil Nadu and the DMK party should actually do some re-examination and release these people who have really done no harm to society in one sense, so to speak. Merely because she speaks against the Telugu people are not going to be what she has said. She's just being stupid at that point of time and possibly got carried away because it was a Brahmin crowd and they were cheering along.
But she has made some very
No,
problematic
yeah,
statements.
this
in
is
the
what
past, I
Pooja
must add.
has been pointing
No, before
out.
the show, Pooja was like,
No,
why
I
not
agree.
throw
I
Kasturi into
agree.
jail?
I agree.
And
No,
now
but Pooja
she's-
has been repeatedly pointing out to us, even before in the discussions, that she's a repeat offender. That these kind of flaring statements has been her route to take in public speeches to get attention and whatnot. But we have always seen that these kind of sections of hate speech and enmity in society and all has been the most abused sections. Like if you want to get at someone, it's very easy to topify these kind of sections and then put people in
Because
prison.
it's very subjective. And
It's very subjective, and we
it's-
have seen that where in election speeches after speeches where Modi has went after a community that has been seriously affected, where there has been on the ground instances of violence that shows that his speeches does make these kind of things happen. There has been no such, no who charges him with that.
So regardless of whatever people say, these kind of arrests do not stand any respectable place in a society that
Yes.
democratic society. Why do you need to put Kasturi, who's the style is not just started, right, in jail for this? She spoke something. There is evidence to it, right? She spoke it. Everybody knows it. There is video evidence. There is audio evidence. What do you get out of putting her in jail? Finish the trial, and if she is found guilty, send her to jail. Why do you want to arrest her?
Yeah. No,
So I
she
mean,
has said
this
problematic
is
things.
clearly political that she's been arrested, and tomorrow it could be to anyone, right? Regardless of,
So
I
you're
don't
saying
believe in
it's
what
okay
she's
to
saying.
file hate speech cases, but let it
That's
go to
another
trial.
way to look at it in the current law,
Hmm.
right? In an ideal world, we should come out with a different mechanism to punish hate speech itself. It could be monetary. Why do you want to send a person to jail? It could be other consequences.
She's
There are
also
other
apologized.
consequences
We
as
have
well.
to
Send them to
count her.
Delhi.
Send them to Delhi,
That's
Delhi and
a
make
bigger
them live
And
in.
stand
punishment.
South
outside.
Sudan is biggest punishment ever.
Dhanya, this Pudal prison, the women's wing, is actually the most depressing place on earth. I can tell you that. You send somebody there, that is the punishment. Oh, you can speak against the DMK and you will, promote Brahmanism, whatever. Now you go and suffer this. You should visit it sometime and see.
That
I
sounded
think at the
very
rate which you are
ominous,
going, you might
RK.
actually.
We had an income tax raid, but it's all shut. I will not be arrested anytime soon unless Pooja does something. If you have watched Pooja's video on how investments are being redirected to Gujarat, that perhaps is one story for which I can go to jail. But please
No,
be
but you know how much we've actually left out so you don't go to jail.
In India, process is punishment, whether
Yeah.
it's income tax or
Exactly.
criminal
Right.
laws or anything, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're convicted or not,
Yeah.
right? So you shouldn't also subject these people to these processes unnecessarily. It's not like a murder, right? It's not like, theft.
Speaking
very
of,
different.
since Dhanya is not taking it up, I have to remind all of you that, like Dhanya said, there was an IT case.
In democracy, this kind of speech cannot be criminalized. And arresting them just shows that this is a power play that is happening here. And it's because there has been even more, serious cases and serious hate speeches happening in this country where the vulnerable has been targeted because of those speeches. And when they have not faced any action, I do not understand how this and what RK says pointed out this strongman image that all the people have learned from Modi, like whether it comes to Stalin or Pinarayi Vijayan or others who are now taking a leaf out of his book and throwing to jail people with whom they don't agree or showing their power in that manner. It has no place in a proper democracy, and if they stand for democratic values, they should not be doing this.
But again, that is a stand, right? For example, you are saying let's not criminalize hate speech, and you're also saying that there are more serious hate speeches, right? So are we saying that we should differentiate what is a serious hate speech and what is
But
not?
that's subjective, right? Dhanya?
Exactly. What is
But
inciting
it's
and
for
what
a
is
court
not?
to decide and see whether there is actually a case
And
there,
for that,
right?
she need not be arrested.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to be arrested.
So you're saying book her, but don't arrest her.
Yeah, I mean, you can book her. I mean, since you have the law, I will never say that don't book her, right? I mean, if there is a complaint, somebody needs to ascertain it and then take the appropriate action.
And I think we also need to say that law itself needs to be re-examined whether
Absolutely.
it has a place in
And actually, we re-examined the law without any one of us lawyers in the room. Somebody just did a project and they came out with this BNSS, which I also, struggling
the
with
full
the
form?
name. Bharatiya
Bharatiya
Nyaya
Samhita.
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 Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita and Bharatiya
Nagarik
Nagarik Suraksha
Sanhita.
Sanhita. So it's
Again, Hindi
basically-
imposition.
Yeah, another Hindi imposition.
Okay, so we have come to a wrap of all three topics. We'll just quickly move to the recommendations. We will start with RK. What are your recommendations? What is your recommendation for the week?
War for WAF. The work bill and Frontline has done a cover on it, and I believe it is very comprehensive. And I think people need to read this because this is how now from pointing and Prime Minister making comments on the community with Jharkhand, the ad that we saw in Jharkhand, we are moving to the next phase, which is moving down the institutions which cater to, say, education or other aspects of the Muslim community itself. That is where the work board is placed, and on the work board there has been a serious kind of assault, and it is right now in the parliamentary committee. A. Raja, the DMK's one of senior most MPs, has talked about it at length, and Frontline has done a cover. I would suggest that you please read up any of these things that you would find. There is a serious issue, and it is now taking an extremely. We're at an interesting phase where they go beyond the vote collection and the communal divides to actually weaken the structures that are available for Muslims to actually try and further even their religion or their culture and any of those things. This is a completely limiting thing, which of course comes from flows from the RSS ideology, one culture for this country, and that's where we are heading with the work amendments to the work amendment bill. So please read up.
So the way the podcast has been going, Nikhil, we are promoting TNM subscription. RK has
Yeah.
been steadily promoting Frontline article and subscription. Now you should promote Trilegal subscription if you have one. But what is your recommendation otherwise?
I can recommend anything.
Sure.
I mean, so
Including your own movie.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Movies.
I'm not going to recommend that. But I think probably I recently saw a movie, Civil War. I think Kirsten Dunst is a lead actress in that. It's about a president who's sort of gone rogue, and Texas and California coming together in a civil war to take the president down, and a bunch of reporters who are like, press reporters covering the event. Right, that's what the movie is about. You should really watch it now that
I
Trump
thought
has
you're
come to
recommending
power.
Avengers.
No. It's an amazing movie called Civil War. You should definitely watch. As journalists, you should definitely watch it.
is it? Where can we watch it?
I think it could be on Prime. I think maybe. Yeah. I have a feeling it's on Prime, and also just on YouTube. A lot of these theories about how Trump won, etc. Just listen to Bernie Sanders talking about how Republicans win. I mean, that will just answer pretty much everything there.
But there was
That is
also a
what I
lot of interesting. I saw on Al Jazeera a few pieces on how, we're just blaming it on Trump, but how the entire campaign was so beautifully designed to win.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, look,
It's
I
very
mean,
easy to just say
it
Trump.
was,
here.
it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure that Trump will win.
Yeah.
Leena, what is your recommendation for the week?
Okay, so since everyone is shamelessly plugging their own thing, I'll plug the Wayanad Literature
I am not going to
Fest.
shamelessly
I'm
plug my own
not
thing.
Trump.
I have not written any books or produced any
Not
movies.
yet.
Yes, not
Yeah.
yet.
Not yet, but I'd recommend to everyone to check out the Wayanad Literature Festival, which is happening in Wayanad this December from the 26th to the 29th. And we have delegate registrations open. It is an independent literature festival, not backed by any big advertising agencies or corporates. And this is the second edition we are doing. The first edition was one of the largest literature festival, rural literature festival in India. And please consider donating to our cause or take a delegate registration and turn up at the festival this December.
Wow.
Pooja?
Okay, I swear I did not get a commission from RK to promote another Frontline piece. But there is an investigation by a Maharashtra reporter called Amey Tirotkar, somebody very senior. And the reason I'm recommending this today is this goes out on Friday. And it's very relevant to Maharashtra elections. It's on the Dharavi takeover by Adani. It's called The Great Mumbai Robbery, How Prime Land is Being Sold to Vested Interests on the Cheap. He's done a fantastic investigation, very, very thorough. And, compared to what's happening there, everything else will seem like pittance, all the other scams that we are outraging about. So
RK
do
looks
read.
very guilty. RK have not read it, right?
No, of course I know the story from the start. From the time you see, it's a very difficult story to do because Adani people will never respond to anything, and once you publish, they'll go after you. That's how they respond. So yeah, of course, you guys should be knowing it. But yeah, so this journalist has done a fantastic job. He has in fact been running around for the entire election cycle, done some magnificent reporting both from Marathwada, Vidarbha, and of course Maharashtra, where we completely miss this out. We think only Konkan, Thane, and Bombay are Maharashtra, but then there are others who do the rural parts of Maharashtra. Thankfully.
So my recommendation is a book. I just stumbled on it. I started reading. I think it's very interesting. I've not finished it, but if you're interested in psephology, it's nice. It's called Who Moved My Vote? Digging Through Indian Electoral Data. It's written by Yugank Goyal and Arun Kumar Kaushik. Voter suppression is something that I'm very interested personally in to study how voter suppression is done. So this book looks at how the Indian election system works. So interesting book. That's all right for this week's South Central. So this is a new podcast by the News Minute. It comes every Friday, 6 p.m. Indian railway standards. Last episode was a bit late, but hopefully this time the train will reach the platform at the correct time, right, Producer Bhuvan? And thank you very much, RK, for joining us. Thank you, Nikhil, Leena, and Pooja, of course. Nikhil, come back with more life experiences for the next podcast. To everyone watching and listening, we are available on Acast, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Do write to us with what you think about the show. It's southcentral@thenewsminute.com. Thanks to my producer, Bhuvan, Jasim Ali, the editor, Megha, and Ajay, who have been working with us. Thank you very much.